Hello everyone and welcome to the Sim Hangar. My name's Mark and today just a very quick video to provide a basic config guide for the Honeycomb Bravo Throttle Quadrant for the newly released Kodiak 100 from SimWorks Studios. That's the same developer that brought us the amazing Okavango Delta scenery. This video is a subscriber request and I hope it helps out Roberto and the others that are having difficulty configuring the Bravo Throttle Quadrant for the new Kodiak 100, which has proved very successful and very popular by all accounts so far. I must say I'm very impressed and I think it's one of the best aircraft so far released for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This will not be a full setup guide. We're going to focus on the power lever, prop and the condition lever for this turboprop aircraft. We'll look at the settings for throttle and also to set it into reverse. Two options for setting the condition or mixture lever, and also setting up the prop lever so that we can feather the prop so that it functions correctly. I've now moved the condition lever into the cutoff position, and so now time to bring the prop lever back into the feather position and feather the props as we shut down. We can see the props have feathered, and as we move the prop lever forward once again, we will see the props move and they will unfeather. So my config settings make sense to you. This is how my Bravo Throttle Quadrant is set up. Throttle on axis 1, prop on axis 3, and mixture or condition lever on axis 5. This setup's just a personal favourite of mine, as I think the gap between the levers is more realistic. But you don't have to copy that. If you're using different axes, then no problem. Just bear in mind that the axis assignments and button presses will be slightly different. So we go to our control options menu. I'm not going to show you how to set it up. I'm assuming that you know how to do that. I will just give you those actions that are required to be bound to the various functions. I've already set up a profile, so let's go to power management and first of all condition levers. And here you have two options. This is option 1, my preferred choice. The difference between the two choices is fairly simple. Option 1 restricts the range of movement of the axis for the condition lever, so you have to move that into the detent position in order to cut off the fuel. Whereas option 2 is slightly different. It's simply using the whole axis. And when moving the axis down towards the detent position, it will cut off the fuel. We'll have a look at both options here. Joystick button 28 is axis 5 past the detent, and the same button is allocated to decrease condition lever and condition lever cutoff. Axis 5 is allocated to the condition lever and the reverse axis is unchecked. Moving on now to the propeller. I've tried innumerable different options, but this is the one that I found worked for me. Propeller 1 axis is bound to the third axis on my throttle quadrant, and button 26, which is past the detent, is again allocated to two different functions. Hold propeller reverse thrust and increase propeller 1 pitch. And at first glance, yes, I agree, it doesn't seem to make any sense, but it's the only one I could find that worked the way I wanted it to. Now let's move on to the throttle quadrant, and that was fairly straightforward. The throttle 1 axis is allocated to the leftmost axis on the throttle quadrant, and the reverse is achieved by throttle 1 decrease. Going back to our condition lever setup, please note for that axis I've also made a change to restrict the axis movement so I don't accidentally cut off the fuel. And I've done that by using the extremity dead zone and moving it to plus 19%. I found anything between 15 and 20% works fairly well. If we have a look at the throttle quadrant in the cockpit, moving the full range of the axis moves it from high to low. I need to push it past the detent for it to do fuel cutoff. The second option is fairly straightforward and is a simple change. All we need to do is delete the condition lever cutoff. Click in the box and then clear current input and validate. One more change is now to go back to our sensitivities and once again choosing the joystick R axis X. If you're using the same axis as I am, of course, hit reset to reset the extremity dead zone. And we're done. Once back in the cockpit, I can now move the axis through its full range up to the detent position. And as it gets towards the detent position, it will cut off the fuel. Which one you prefer? Well, it's up to you, they both work well. And for easier reference, here's a quick summary of these settings I've used. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found this useful and informative. Stay well, have a good festive season, see you soon, and bye for now.